Almighty God, ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen.
Ima?
Distinguished colleagues, morning, let us examine the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, the 9th day of October 2024. Page 295, page 296, page 297, page 298, page 299, page 300, page 301, page 302, page 303. Distinguished Senator Pastor Emmett Yohana.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move for the adoption of votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 9th October 2024. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ndubueze.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Yohana for adoption of the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 10th October 2024. I so support. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do adopt the votes and proceedings of 9th day of October 2024. Those who support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, today we are privileged to have the staff and students of St. Agon International School, Maitama, Abuja. They are in chambers to observe the Senate proceedings. Yes, you are welcome. I wish you fruitful observation. You may sit down. Distinguished colleagues, we also today have the staff and students of Javino Model School, Suleta, in Niger State. They are in chambers in the gallery to observe Senate proceedings. I wish them fruitful observation of the Senate proceedings of today. And God will take you back, sir. You're welcome. Bless it.
How are you doing?
So, you got it today.
I saw it. I saw it. Not see any yesterday. I didn't know back. They say they put it in their list.
Distinguished colleagues, the following distinguished senators are still celebrating their birthdays. But the three hearing stands for 10th day of October 2024. Distinguished Senator Najma Uche Mohammed, Distinguished Senator Musa Garba Maidoki, Distinguished Senator Dan Duse Mutari Mohammed. On behalf of the entire Senate, I wish the distinguished brothers very happy birthday. Almighty Allah to grant you all many more years of prosperity, good health, and sound service to your fatherland and your families. Amen. Distinguished colleagues, for the anti-doping legislation passed by both chambers, but with slight variations, conference committee is made up of Distinguished Senator Suleiman Kau Smaila, Distinguished Senator Tony Way, Distinguished Senator Khalid Ibrahim, Distinguished Senator Orwell Yeso, Distinguished Senator Haruna Anu, and Distinguished Senator Adara Molu. I hope your report will get to us in the next legislative page. The Benin Plus conclude that issue because of the urgency. Any petitions? Yes, Senator Naida.
Thank you, Mr. President. Naida Emerson, representing Edo South Nigeria District. There's a petition before us, Mr. President,
from 10 individuals against the management of Abuja Markets Management Limited. They complained about unlawful dismissal because of the position they took during the tussle between the management of the Abuja Market Management Limited. And they respectfully ask this body to look into their grievances. With your permission, Mr. President, may I read the report?
Is that the only petition?
Yes.
May I wish to move forward and lay the petition. The petition is hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions to report back to the Senate in 2 weeks. Any other petition? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the first business of the day.
Cyril, you may wish to approach the table.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Borno Senatorial District, standing in for the Senate leader. The first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Buhari Abdul Fattah on the Nigerian Political Debate Establishment Bill 2024 SB 355. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigeria Political Debate Establishment Bill 2024, SB 555, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Political Debate Establishment Bill 2024, SB 555, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the second business of the day is the presentation of the bill standing in the name of Senator Moguno Mohamed Tahir on the National Agency of Safety and Violence Peaceful Bill 2024 SB 594. Mr. President, we wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Agency on Safety and Violence-Free School Bill 2024, SB 594, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Agency on Safety and Violence-Free School Bill 2024, SB 594, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of the bill in the name of Senator Ahmed Akunbi on the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 595. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 595, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 595, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of the bill in the name of Senator Hamid Malamadori on the Police Academy Act Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bill 598. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Police Academy Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 598, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Police Academy Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 598, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of the bill standing on the Senate, arguing implied added of law on the Nigerian Export-Import Bank Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 599. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigeria Export-Import Bank Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 599, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigeria Export-Import Bank Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 599, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of the bill standing in the name of Senator Kaimi Sanjay on the Federal University of Agriculture, Kaba, established in 2024, Senate Bill 640. Mr. President, we may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Agriculture, Kaba, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 603, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal University of Agriculture, Kaba, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 603, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the first order of the day is the second reading of the National Eye Center, Jamaica, Adamawa State Establishment Bill 2024, Senate Bill 524. Distinguished senators will report that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 11 July 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Abbas Amin Kia to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Abbas Aminuya.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished Aminuya Abbas, Adamawa Central. Mr. President, two colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the general principles of this very important bill for an act to establish National Eye Center in Jamaica, Adamawa State. The bill was read first for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 10th of July 2024. Mr. President, two colleagues, as we all know, cataract is one of the most commonest cause of severe visual impairment and blindness in this country. Similarly, glaucoma has led to several cases of blindness in Adamawa State and the country at large, Mr. President. Hence, the need to establish more national eye centers anywhere in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. Trachoma is an infectious eye disease caused by Chlamydia trachomatis bacteria. It is spread by direct contact with the eye or nose of an infected person, which causes inflammation of the eyelids and can lead to scarring of the cornea. And this is one of the eye diseases commonly found among rural dwellers in Nigeria. And Jamaica, as well as other communities in Adamawa State, is not an exception. This, in addition to other conditions like uncorrected refractive errors, are found to be common, to be among major causes of blindness and visual impairment in Adamawa State and the country at large. The objective of this bill for the prevention, diagnosis and treatment of eye, coordination of research in eye disease and training of specialists in eye disease, among others. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the National Eye Center Jamaica, when established, will help prevent and treat eye disease. The center will enhance and train more eye care providers and professionals alike. The center will promote research and innovation in the field of eye care for Adamawa State and the country. In the overall analysis, the center, when fully established, will create jobs and boost local economy, which will have direct effect on the national economy. Mr. President, dear colleagues, the enactment of this bill will not only serve Adamawa State but adjoining state. Currently, anybody with eye challenges in the aforementioned state will have to travel all the way to Kaduna State. Kaduna State. This is very challenging for most of the people in view of the current economic and security challenge within the country. In line with all
Prevalence of eye disease is
close to the people is something that is very responsible for the government of. I support in totality that this bill
citizens of Adamawa access in close proximity to eye care, glaucoma, but also in treatment of trachoma and uncorrected refractive errors. But most importantly, sir, the center will also specialize to enhance, if I may quote, and train.
That the more we spread facilities such as this across the country, people don't need to travel a long distance to have access to Medicare. There's even no point emphasizing the problem of glaucoma or cataract or whatever. We just talk about eye disease. Doctors know various forms of diseases that can keep a young man or woman blind. And once you are blind, I can't imagine anything that can be worse than that. So I don't think this requires too much flogging. I join in urging all our colleagues in these allo chambers to support this bill and to ensure that it takes off as quickly as possible for the benefit of Nigerians who live in that part of the country. I so support, Mr. President, sir. Thank you for the privilege.
Distinguished colleagues, the issue looks very straightforward. And I thank all the senators for their comments. Is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? There is none. Therefore, I put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Eye Center, Jamaica, Adamawa State, and for related matters 2024, SB 524, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Eye Center, Jamaica, Adamawa State, and for related matters 2024, second reading taken. This bill is now committed to the Committee on Health to report back to the Senate within the next 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, the second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Education Sugbe Establishment Bill 2024, Senate Bill 201. Distinguished senators will report that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 25th October 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Uwoye Tony to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Distinguished Senator Tony Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this privilege and honor. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Dr. Tony Moye, representing Anambra North Senatorial District. Mr. President, I hereby want to move by leading a debate on the establishment bill on the conversion of Nwafo Orizu College of Education into Federal University of Education. Mr. President, my highly distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate that this bill seeks to provide for establishment of Federal University of Education, which is an upgrade. This bill was passed by the 8th National Assembly, but was not ascertained due to its late passage when the administration was winding down. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, 25th October 2023. As a preliminary point, I humbly wish to point out that this bill seeks to upgrade the existing Nwafo Orizu College of Education Nsugbe to now operate as Nwafo Orizu Federal University of Education Nsugbe. It is a fact widely acknowledged that education is a sure means of developing individual potentials. Little wonders, therefore, that the National Policy on Education 1981 postulates that the education forms the bedrock of development and is the most important catalyst to socio-economic, political, scientific, and technological development. The history of any nation is tied to the history of its educational development. Hence, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, the technological advancements in Japan and America approach a functional and productive educational system. Among the various educational institutions through which the nation hopes to achieve its development goals, specialized universities of education should take preeminence because they are set up to train the trainers and teachers. The objectives of this university, as outlined in this bill, among others, include A, to encourage the advancement of learning to all persons without distinction of race, religion, sex, or political conviction, by availing to all our qualified persons the opportunity of acquiring higher education in Nigeria. B, bring a quality change in education, focusing on teachers' education through teaching and learning innovations. C, collaborate with other national and international institutions involved in training, research, and development of education with view to promoting governance, leadership, and management skills among educational managers, and so on. My dear President, distinguished colleagues, having enumerated the objectives of this bill, it is pertinent to briefly explain the choice of request to upgrade the existing College of Education Nsugbe to Federal University of Education. Nwafo is Federal University of Education Nsugbe. Presently, the College of Education has the following facilities on ground. 1. Student population of 6,452. Academic staff of 262. Non-academic staff of 630. Contract staff of 18. Faculties, 6 faculties. School of Arts, School of Social Sciences with 7 departments. School of Sciences with 7 departments. School of Vocational and Teachers Education with 4 departments. School of General Education with 3 departments. School of General Childhood Care and Education with 2 departments. Administrative block, auditorium, medical center, provost lodge, registrar quarters, commercial banks, and a cash center. 2 boreholes. Presently, the College of Education has 20 hostel blocks. A third-story building, classroom, laboratory, departmental libraries, multi-purpose centers, e-library, ultra-modern complex, etc., all built by TED fund. It is important to add that the establishment of this institution will not place too much financial burden on federal government because the school is already in existence. As College of Education Nsugbe was established in 1981, hence, what is needed is to upgrade it to university education for enhancement quality of learning and research on it. Mr. President, we have provided a compendium. On the final note, I humbly urge my President, the Senate colleagues, to allow passage of this bill for the second time because we have provided a compendium at the last page in compliance with Order 76, subsection 3 of our standing rules of the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, distinguished Senator Benson Kobewe.
Thank you, Excellency.
Senator Kombowe Friday Benson, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the distinguished Senator Tony Nwoye. In seconding the bill, Your Excellency, teachers' education cannot be overemphasized. The need for teachers to be engaged in our society nowadays have become imperative. Your Excellency, you are aware in recent times, our young ones are becoming so lawless, And in almost all the states, there is this problem of recruitment of teachers. And it's only in situations like this, establishing an institution that can frontally attack the shortages we have in the teaching field. Your Excellency, growing up in those days, we were having auxiliary teachers after their secondary or primary school certificates. Those were the people that were teaching us in the schools. But to this end now, the world has grown beyond that. If we must compete favorably with other climes in the world, we have to effectively manage, train our teachers so that they will further go to teach the children. Your Excellency, sir, I don't want to bore the Senate in saying all that. The bill has already been said. But to cap it all, I am totally in support of this bill and will want to say that the Senate should not even look at it in another way, but we should go straight to allow this bill to fly. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, distinguished Senator Kombowe. It's as if you are speaking the minds of all the senators. In reality, this bill was actually passed by the 8th Senate, but it was not assented into Act of Parliament. And they need to have very trained teachers to man our educational sector. It cannot be overemphasized. So let me thank distinguished senators for their contributions and thank distinguished Senator Tony Way for bringing this bill back for us to examine in the 10th Senate. So those in favor that this bill be now read a second time say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Education in Nsugbe and for other matters connected therewith 2024, SB 201, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Education in Nsugbe and for other matters connected therewith 2024, second reading taken. This bill is now committed to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TEFRON to report back to the Senate within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Kwige, Imo State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 396. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 14 March 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Indubuze Patrick Tumba to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Ndubeze.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Patrick Chiwoba Ndubeze. I represent Imo North Senatorial District. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity, having permitted me to lead the debate for the establishment of the Federal University of Okigwe. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this all-important bill, which seeks to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Okigwe, Imo State, and to be saddled with the main function of providing quality education that will train our young generation in different professional fields, both at graduate and postgraduate levels, like agriculture, environmental sciences, epidemiology, virology, robotic, artificial intelligence, and nuclear technology. These will not only reduce unemployment, but also guarantee our food security and sound mind in the whole state and the nation at large. This bill was read for the first time in this Hallowed Chamber on Thursday, 13th March 2024. The proposed site for the Federal University has been built up for its first phase. It was proposed earlier for the realization of engineering faculty of Imo State University in the former Okigwe National Grammar School, Omona, which has been abandoned. Interestingly, the Imo State government has graciously granted approval for all the facilities, about 11 buildings and 4 number-story buildings and all the rest of them, the administrative block, well built up, to be taken for this proposed federal university. Consequently, the initial cost outlay to kickstart the institution will be minimal relative to siting it on our virgin land. The location is a large expanse of land in a serene environment on the bank of Imo River, away from the hustle, bustle, and noise associated with the city. It is therefore suitable for research and learning. The establishment of the Federal University in Okigwe, Imo North, will come with employment of junior workers from the area, thus reducing youth unemployment and bringing the incidence of insecurity to a manageable level. Okigwe zone, in particular, Umuna, and the adjoining local government areas lay on the same plane as one of the food baskets of this nation. Indeed, the Imo River, after which Imo State is named, traverse through all the local government areas that make up Imo North Senatorial District, providing them with the much needed arable land for agriculture. Suddenly, this will be of immense benefit to the proposed Federal University of Okigwe in the area of agricultural research and production. The university, when put in place, will complement the inadequate opportunity for university education provided by the few tertiary institutions in the southeastern zone. It will thus give the southeasterners a sense of belonging and hence national unity, since admission will cut across Nigeria as a whole. The objectives of the proposed university Okigwe, among others, include to provide higher education for all qualified JAM candidates who have been repeatedly sitting for the exams due to lack of vacancy for admission, provide relevant professional courses and training research in agriculture, fisheries, environmental sciences, technology, and most importantly, nuclear technology, cancer, and other health-related studies with well-equipped faculties, departments to give the students required knowledge in the specialized fields. And improve food security, considering the proximity of the university to Imo River that has fertile bank coupled with the functional but abandoned facilities of Federal Government School of Fisheries, which discussions have been concluded for the university to inherit it. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I wish to lay emphasis on the fact that the proposed university will surely take off with already built inherited facilities from former institutions proposed and abandoned within the area and could take off. Notwithstanding, there must be some minimal financial obligations for the smooth and speedy academic activities to commence as we proposed earlier September that is gone. On that premise and in compliance with the Order 76, Section 3 of the Standing Rules of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with respect to the procedure of bills, compendium, and consolidation, which states inter alia that, I quote, on the introduction of a bill, a compendium of background information and financial implications of such bills, if passed into law, shall be delivered to all senators. The following compilation with regard to the aforementioned bill is herewith presented for the general information of senators. I therefore passionately request you all distinguished senators to support this bill for a second reading, further processes of passage, while I pray that the bill is passed with the speed of light.
Thank you.
Sir, if I may,
thank you, distinguished senator.
I so submit.
Let me invite distinguished Senator Francis Ezenwa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ezenwa Onyewuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion for the establishment of the Okigwe University. Mr. President, let me, with your permission, quickly add that the people of Okigwe are well known for their love for education. Mr. President, I remember while growing up, there used to be a song linking the underdevelopment of Okigwe to lack of education. And I'm sure that accounts for the love for education on the part of the good people of Okigwe. And this bill sets out to address the issue of lack of education. So I want to lend my voice strongly to this bill. And also, in addition to what my dear brother and colleague had said earlier, that the establishment of this university will help tame the recent upsurge in insecurity in Okigwe zone by providing them with the requisite skills and qualification to be, especially the youth, to be self-reliant and self-sufficient. And there's also an old institution in Okigwe, the Federal Government College Okigwe, and I'm sure this university will complement this institution that has produced a lot of eminent Nigerians. So, Mr. President, I want to say that since ignorance is not an option, I want to urge my dear colleagues to please support the establishment of this institution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well said. Ignorance is never an option. Distinguished Senator Isonaso.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Osita Isunaso. I represent Imo West. Mr. President, you can see that the three of us from Imo State are in unison for the establishment of this university in Okigwe. The reasons are not far-fetched. When Imo State University was created in 1981 and got their full autonomy in 1986, they spread the campuses. The medical campus was taken to Olu, where I come from. The engineering faculty was taken to Okigwe and the old Okigwe Grammar School, while the main campus remained in Owerri. By 1994, when that school got accredited to do the engineering faculty, there was already a place in that grammar school meant for that engineering faculty. And the Imo State government pumping a lot of money to establish the engineering faculty in Okigwe zone. Mr. President, as I'm talking to you today, we are lucky to have about 3 or 4 universities in my state, mainly state-owned university. We only have one federal university in my state, which is Futo in Owerri. The other universities are state-owned university. Imo State University, Kumo, Kembadiwe University, and University of Agriculture and Environment. So you can see that those ones are located, one in my senatorial zone, another one in Owerri. There is none in Okigwe. And Okigwe plays a pivotal role. If you look at the geography of Okigwe, it is at the center of the southeast. From Okigwe to Ebonyi is less than 20 minutes. From Okigwe to Aba is about 5 minutes. Okigwe to Enugu is about 30 minutes. Okigwe to Anambra, 5-10 minutes. So it is at the center, the epicenter of the southeast. So putting a university in Okigwe, Federal University, Mr. President, is long overdue because it's going to be a university not only for Imo people, but for the entire southeast. And even our brothers from Akwa Ibom, where Mr. President comes from, you know, from their place to connect to Aba is about 20 minutes. And once we get to Aba to connect to Okigwe, it's 10 minutes. So you can see 30 minutes. So instead of people suffering going to Uyo and other places, from Ikote to Ikoro Abasi, they're already there in Okigwe. So you can see, this is why I believe that that university is long overdue, and I'm supporting it because it will help our people. If you look at JAMB enrollment for the past 3-4 years, Imo State ranked first, second in the last 3-4 years of JAMB enrollment. So I believe that that university, I'm supporting it. The Imo State people are supporting it. The people of Southeast are supporting it, including our brothers from Akwa Ibom. I rest my case, Mr. President.
Well, I don't know. The reality is that the establishment of the university is not because of proximity. University is universal. Otherwise, there are a lot of our children. What other? A lot of our children move to Birmingham. So many of them go to Leeds and all that, and those places are not contiguous to Nigeria. So university is universal. We expect people from Poland and others to come there for academic studies. But I've taken cognizance of your patronage of Akwa Ibom as being a contiguous zone to Okiwe. I didn't know Okiwe was 5 minutes from Anambra. 5 minutes and 10 minutes from Akwa Ibom. I don't want to ask you which other kind of crab, whether by air or by. Okay, yes, Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President, Banoji Brekan North. Mr. President, I support the establishment of this institution, but I want to guide the Senate properly. Apart from the university he talked about, there's still another university in Imo State, Alva Ikoko University of Education.
Come
I'm
again.
saying this because
Come.
I'm saying this because I was a former chairman of the Committee on Tertiary Institution and TED Fund. But I support the establishment of this institution, but I just want to guide the Senate.
Even though his information was not correct, that Imo State has only one federal university. So you are saying that Imo State has more than one federal.
More than one university.
And one of them is Alva Ikoko
Federal University of Education.
Okay. Is that okay?
To that extent, he's correct. But it is a university that is in the pipeline. But he's correct, because it is formerly Alvaniko College of Education, now University of Education, but it's in the pipeline. And he knows that it's in the pipeline. So, but if you have this engineering university in Okigwe, because the one he's talking about is purely on education and nothing more than that. But what the president is talking about is a professional university that will have engineering and other professional courses. So, Mr. Deputy Senate President, I'm agreeing with you because you are supporting the creation of this university. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, the distinguished Senator Mongolo, you have something to add, bearing in mind that they already have two federal universities. But say something.
Yes, distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators. My name is Mohammed Tahir Mongono. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, establishment of universities, the more the merrier, especially against the backdrop of the fact that our population is growing at geometric progression, while our ability to establish universities is growing at arithmetic progression. So, establishment of more universities, the more the merrier. And any society that toys with the education of its people does so at the risk of its own peril. So, establishment of universities, the more the merrier, having regard to the fact that our population is growing at geometric progression. So, by establishing more universities, we will have the capacity to take in more of our population for university education. Thank you.
But just one question. The university, you said the population is going at geometric progression.
Yes, sir.
While the establishment of universities is going at
arithmetic.
Huh?
Arithmetic progression.
Even the grammar is because of your education. So I want to thank you for your contribution. Thank all my colleagues. Is there anybody who is opposed to the establishment of this university? There is none. So thank you so much for your contributions, Clerk of the Senate. So those who are in support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish Federal University Okigwe, Imo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024. Second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish Federal University Okigwe, Imo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024. Second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund to report back to the Senate within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the confirmation of the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh for appointment as chairman of the National Hajj Commission, distinguished senators will report that a request was prepared to the committee on Wednesday, 25th September 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Bello Sani Abubakar, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Excellency Bello Sani Obaka.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I am Abubakar Sani Bello, representing Niger North and the chairman of Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. President, the committee met, screened, and deliberated on the nomination by Mr. President of Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman for confirmation as appointment as the chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to lay in the report, then give highlights and summary of the contents of the report. As we move.
Please proceed. I wish to summarize and particularly your recommendations.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate, at its sitting of Wednesday, the 25th of September 2024, considered the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the confirmation of nomination of the appointment of Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON. The Senate subsequently referred the assignment to the committee in accordance with its rules to further legislative action. Mr. President, we all have copies of the report. Pages 1 to 5 contain introduction, membership, secretariat, committee, methodology, screening of nominee, requirements for appointment, and summary of resume of the nominee. So I would like to proceed straight to the findings, recommendation, and conclusion, with your permission. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, at the end of the screening exercise of the nominee, the committee's findings are as follows. 1. That Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman's nomination is in line with Section 3, Subsection 2 of the National Hajj Commission NACON Act 2006, that the committee did not receive any petition against his nomination as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. 3. That the nominee has been cleared by the security agencies. 4. That the nominee has presented his tax clearance and code of conduct acknowledgement slip. 5. That the nominee possesses the requisite academic qualifications as well as wide-ranging experiences to be the chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. And finally, that the nominee was very articulate and meticulous in his responses to questions directed at him by the committee. Recommendations: the committee, having carefully and thoroughly screened the nominee and it is satisfied with his qualifications, exposure, conduct, character, experiences, and general performances. The nominee has displayed wide and in-depth knowledge of Hajj activities and operations. Therefore, the committee recommends as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman for appointment as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. In so moved.
Distinguished Senator Sharaf Ali.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Sharafaddin Abiodun Ali. I represent Oyo South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to support the report just presented by the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee to confirm the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman for appointment as chairman of the National Art Commission of Nigeria. I also support Mr. President.
The Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Barrow Jibrin cannot not. Mr. President, permit me to commend the chairman of this committee, the Committee on Foreign Affairs, and members of his committee for doing a thorough job, thorough screening of this nominee by Mr. President. Their report is well put together and well articulated. They've done a wonderful job. This is a wonderful report. I also want to commend Mr. President for nominating the nominee in the first place, because Mr. President has done a wonderful job here, because he has picked a man that has all what it takes to occupy this office. Going by the report shows that the nominee has the relevant track record, the experience, the wonderful pedigree needed for someone to acquire this exalted office. He has demonstrated experience because he has held this kind of office at state level before now. He has also stayed in Saudi Arabia, where he is expected to do most of his job. In fact, it's a kind of what you describe as a round peg in a round hole. Nothing can be better than this. This man has all what is needed, all what it takes to occupy this office. So I call on my colleagues that without much ado, we give our approval for his confirmation. Mr. Friend, I so submit. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, I thank all of you for your contributions, and particularly thank the chairman, my brother Sani Bedu Abubakar, and the Committee on Foreign Affairs for doing a very thorough job. And I think without much ado, as stated by the Deputy Senate President, I will invite the leader of the Senate to move a motion for us to resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report.
Distinguished President, distinguished senators, I hereby move that the Senate do resolve into a committee of the whole to consider the report. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion moved by the Majority Leader that the Senate resolves into a committee of the whole to consider the report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh for appointment as chairman of the National Hajj Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, sitting as chairman, distinguished senators, I hereby move that the Senate do revert to plenary to report progress.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this salon chamber do revert to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we revert to plenary to report. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as chairman, National Hajj Commission, and approved the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh as chairman, National Hajj Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh for appointment as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Abdullahi Saleh is hereby confirmed as chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. So once again, I appreciate the hard work of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, the contributions of the civil senators, and I want to wish the new chairman, once appointed by Mr. President formally, a very wonderful stay as chairman of the Hajj Commission. Hitch-free Hajj operations, tragedy-free Hajj operations, spiritually filled Hajj operations, and of course, by implication, through their prayers, more peace for Nigeria. In the name of Almighty God. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, the fifth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Poverty Alleviation and Social Investments on the confirmation of the nomination of Dr. Badamasi Lawal for appointment as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency. Distinguished senators will recall that request was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 24th September 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Adepule Idiat Oloranti, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Idiat.
The President of the Senate, I'm Idiat Oloranti Adepule. I represent Lagos West Senatorial District, and the Orkan Commission for present report. The Senate, the committee met on the 2nd of October 2024.
We wish to just go ahead and on a motion.
I will lay the report first.
On the motion to lay the report first.
The Excellency was about laying the foundation for that what with your approval I laid the report.
Dismissed Senator Idiot, you may proceed.
The
So,
committee met, like I said earlier, on the 2nd of October 2024 to screen the nominee of Mr. President for the position of the coordinator, of the National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency. And after the thorough screening, the committee requested for copies of the nominee CV, academic certificates, tax clearance certificates, asset declaration certificate, and security report. I'm glad to report that there's no petition against the nominee, and during the screening, the nominee answered satisfactorily various questions on topical issues related to and not limited to social investment in the country. The nominee displayed competence and absolute knowledge in social investment concerns, indicative of his readiness and preparedness for the appointment he was nominated for. The nominee is an associate professor of physical education and has occupied several positions, as you can see in the report. Thus, the finding of the committee after scrutinizing the nominee credentials and subjecting him to rigorous interview find that the nominee has the requisite qualifications, knowledge of the job, and vast work experience to lead as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program Agency. A recommendation, therefore, after exhaustive deliberation, the committee recommends Dr. Badamasi Lawal for confirmation as the National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Agency. Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, it is the belief of the committee that Dr. Badamasi Lawal, if confirmed, will bring to bear his wealth of knowledge and experience to drive home the goals of National Social Investment Program Agency for the benefit of the poor and vulnerable in the country. The committee sincerely appreciates the President of the Senate, all the principal officers, and indeed the entire Senate for the opportunity given in this capacity. I so present.
dismissed Senator Blank.
The President of the Senate, our beloved leader, distinguished members of the Senate, I am Senator Dicket Plang, Senator representing Plateau Central. I rise to support the recommendation made by the Committee on Poverty Alleviation led by Dr. Mrs. Idiot, recommending or asking for us to confirm the of the appointment of Dr. Lawal, I rise to support this motion in its totality because the chairman of the committee and distinguished members of the committee really sat and did a very thorough screening. And for the fact also that I know the nominee, and I know he has also displayed to us by way of documentation his experiences, his qualifications. I would like to add to it that he is also mentally alert. I would like, in as much as we're screening people, we should just go beyond their qualification and experiences. We should also determine how alert they are at time T. Because you may have an experience, you may have qualifications, but probably your mental stability may not be good enough at time T. I want to assure us that having known the person is mentally sound and mentally alert and very responsible. This type of assignments that is nationally in nature, that has to do with Nigerians and selection of beneficiaries. You need people who are healthy, mentally sound, mentally alert, and the nominee is mentally alert. I therefore ask that all of us should support the confirmation of Dr. Lawal, and I believe that his assignment there will be very beneficial to us as Nigerians at times like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, distinguished Senator Plan. I must add that I do agree with you, but that is the essence of our screening here. And also that is the essence of getting the requisite reports, security reports from the relevant governmental agencies to know whether the person is medically impaired, physically impaired, or otherwise, and particularly of sound mind to carry out any national assignment. So I'm happy you have confirmed that whilst you screened this particular nominee, you were certain that the person is of sound mind. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, I hereby move that the Senate do resolve into a committee of the whole to consider the report instanta.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the Senate resolves into the committee of the whole to consider the report. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report. Those in support of the motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Badamasi Lawal for appointment as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency of Nigeria? Those in support of the approval say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Dr. Badamasi Lawal is hereby approved for appointment as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency of Nigeria. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate sitting as chairman, distinguished senators, I move that the Senate revert to plenary to report progress.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August chamber do revert into plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Poverty Alleviation, Social Investment, on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency, and approved the nomination of Dr. Badamasi Lawal as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Badamasi Lawal for appointment as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency? Those in favor of the confirmation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Badamasi Lawal is hereby confirmed as National Coordinator, Chief Executive Officer, National Social Investment Program Agency. Let me thank our committee on poverty alleviation and social investment, headed by distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Ororanti, and all the members for a job well done. And thank my colleagues, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for their contributions. And use this medium to congratulate Dr. Badamasi Lawal, who has just been confirmed today by the Nigerian Senate for appointment as the National Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program Agency. This agency has been bedeviled with a lot of scandals in the last few months, and I believe that his coming will put an end to all that. So I want to wish him well, wish him luck on behalf of the 10th Senate, and wish him success in his endeavors. And particularly, may Nigerian people benefit from his wealth of experience. I thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I wish to crave your indulgence for the next order of the day to be stood down for the next legislative day because the report of the committee is not yet ready before the Senate. I so move.
The report of
the committee, that is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary, on the compelling need to tackle the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria, is not yet ready before the Senate for presentation and consideration. Consequently, I apply that this order be stood down or be adjourned to the next legislative day.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the next order on our order paper, the next item on the order paper on the report of the Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary, be stood down. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that in view of the fact that the report on the compelling need to tackle the challenges of out-of-school children in Nigeria, handled by the Senate Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary, is not yet ready. that this be stood down to another legislative date. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So this report is hereby stood down. But we should have time frame within which this report should be brought to the Senate because of the need to address the out of school children issue. And it's compelling and it's very necessary. So I hope they will bring it back to the Senate within the next 2 weeks.
I think the Rules and Business Committee will take legislative notice of your pronouncement.
Thank you. Leader of the Senate, continue.
As distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, the seventh order of the day are House bills for concurrence as listed on the order paper. Mr. President, for the simple nature of the bill and interchamber reciprocity, I will present a lead bill. I will present a lead debate on the bill.
Yes. Proceed.
Okay. Mr. President, distinguished senators, these bills are to establish federal medical centers in Okwige, Ibora, and Obuyan in Imo, Oyo, and Delta State,
Is it
respectively.
Okiwe again?
Yes, Okuge again. It's Okuge again.
Senator Izunaso? Senator Izunaso?
Senator Mbubise.
Have you checked that there is no federal medical center in Okiwe? Because this is another one. Okiwe, okay. So Imo State has only one medical center. Federal medical center.
Teaching hospital. So no more federal medical center in Imo State. And like I said, no federal presence in our Okiwe zone. That's the truth.
So you must grab everything you can today.
That is why he's here.
Okay. So yes, who wants to support the motion for concurrence?
Can I support?
Yes, actually, the leader of the Senate, the two bills are of the same, so you may wish to mention the two at once.
Distinguished senators, since the two bills for concurrence are in pari materia with each other, I want to crave the indulgence of the Senate for the two bills to be considered together. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the two bills be taken together since they are of the same nature. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that in view of the fact that the two bills are of the same nature, we allow the Senate leader to take the two at the same time. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, yes, you may proceed with the lead debate to enable us to take the two at the same time.
Thank you, Mr. President. These bills to establish federal medical centers in the Okugwe, Igbura, and Obuyan in Imo, Oyo, and Delta State, respectively, is informed by the need to bridge the existing gap between primary, secondary healthcare, and tertiary healthcare delivery in Nigeria. The gap between primary, secondary, and specialist healthcare in Nigeria is widening. There is no seamless transition from one to the other due to a number of factors. The factors include accessibility to medical facilities, affordability of Medicare, as well as inadequate medical personnel at the primary and secondary healthcare levels. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, these are straightforward and not controversial, and have gone through the necessary legislative
process in the House of Representatives. I therefore urge you all to support the second reading of these bills as we refer them to the Committee of the Whole for clause-by-clause consideration. I thank you. And the provisions of the bills are as per attached.
Yes. Distinguished Senator Ndubeze.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Ndubeze Patrick C. FNSE, representing the North. There is a saying that this is the day that the Lord has made, that we should rejoice and be glad in it. So for Okigwe to come concurrently, you can understand. And there was a song sung by Senator Ezenwa here that Obodo Niile Mepechara for Okigwe. That's a normal song known in the 60s. So today, you all will help to develop Okigwe. This bill, I brought the first, we had the first reading last year, I can't quote the date now, before it came up that the House of Representatives have passed it in 9th Assembly. And I want to inform all of us here, we have a general hospital in Okigwe, ancient general hospital built by the colonial masters on a very vast land. The hospital has all the required buildings. The equipment there then for today, they are all moribund, and the place is not functioning. I want to inform you, it's good you realize the place called Okigwe is the only colonial district in Nigeria that has not been transformed into a state, and so neglected and abandoned. Just like when we are talking about the university, none in Okigwe zone. So, sir, the land, we don't need to talk about that is land, very vast area. The buildings required already there is just to rehabilitate it. The laboratories, everything to make up Federal Medical Center. It will be the largest Federal Medical Center because it has a largest outlay in this country as far as medical facilities are concerned. So I am praying that my distinguished colleagues, very most distinguished people of this Senate, I want to say that I'm honored that you all will unanimously support this bill as it has been read in the House of Reps and passed, and that we will pass this one now. I mean, the real speed of light, like the Chief Whip used to tell us, so that Okigwe people will have a place, now we'll have a place to educate our people, we'll have a place to treat ourselves, and you are one way or the other solving the insecurity for which Okigwe is known. Remember when there was attack in my house, when they killed a senior police officer? Recently, they went there, cut a young man's head, president of the youth. 2 nights ago, that we had attack in Mbano side, and the previous night, the same thing where army base is. So all this, when they talk of Biafra, when they talk of this, and their reason is that they felt that Okigwe zone is not in Nigeria, that they abandoned. For what is happening today, watch it, that insecurity will be coming down. They will see that Okigwe is being mentioned in Nigeria, being recognized in Nigeria, and being given a place in this country. Thank you all for supporting this bill.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Sharif Adin. Actually, we noticed that we are considering 3 bills, not just 2, and chamber reciprocity, because one of the medical centers is actually to be sited in Owen in Delta State. So we are taking the 3 at the same time. Please note. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for allowing me to lend my support to this bill. As said by Mr. President, for legislative reciprocity, I want to urge the Senate to support, all of us to support the passage of this bill. As a matter of fact, the bill for the amendment of the Federal Medical Center in respect of Igboara was moved some time ago, last year, in these hallowed chambers. And now that we have this coming for concurrence, I want to urge us to please support. It's going to ensure that there is access to medical care for people in Igboara. For the information of the Senate, Igboara is one of the zones in Oyo State, and it falls under my senatorial district, Oyo South Senatorial District. It's going to ensure that people will not have to go to Ogbomoso or have to go to UCH in Ibadan before they access medical facilities. And it's not going to cost the government anything much because there's already a facility right there. So, Mr. President, I urge the entire Senate to kindly support the passage of this bill in concurrence as it has been passed by the House of Representatives. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Distinguished colleagues, we don't seem to have much argument because this is clearly, these are bills for concurrence. So those in favor that these bills be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Okigwe and for related matters 2024. Second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Centers Ibora, Oyo State, and Federal Medical Center Ovian in Delta State, and for related matters 2024. Second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center Okiwe and for related matters 2024. Second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center Ibora in Oyo State and for related matters 2024. Second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center Uwean in Delta State. Second reading taken. I thank all for your contributions and I now invite the leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, pursuant to Order 78, Rule 3, I move that the bill be now referred to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. I so move.
Yes. The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, has motion that the bills be referred to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, pursuant to Order 78.3, a motion has been moved that these bills be now committed to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. Those in support that this August Assembly do resolve in the Committee of the Whole to consider these bills for concurrence, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we revert to the Committee of the Whole. Distinguished colleagues, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, HB 799, long title, page 1, Amendment of the Federal Medical Centers Act 2022. Clause 1, those in support of Clause 1 as recommended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 1 is returned. Clause 2, those in support of Clause 2 as recommended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3, those in support of Clause 3 being the citation clause as recommended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4, explanatory memorandum. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum as recommended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Ibora and Owian are taken together. The Federal Medical Centers Amendment Bill 2024. Report to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2022 to provide a legal framework for the establishment of the Federal Medical Centers in Ibora, in Oyo State, and also Owian or Ovian in Delta State, and for related matters enacted by the National Assembly as follows. The provisions of the bill. Clause 1, those in support of Clause 1 as written say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2, those in support of Clause 2 as written say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of Clause 3 as recommended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum as inserted in the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we've taken both Ibora and Owian, and the first one we took was the one in respect of Okiwe in Imo State. Leader of the Senate, you may wish to move that we revert to plenary to report progress.
Distinguished President, sitting as chairman, distinguished senators, I hereby move that the Senate do revert to plenary to report progress.
Distinguished Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert back to plenary to report progress.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the Senate do revert to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 2 as recommended. Interpretation clause nil. Short title clause 3 as recommended. The schedules nil. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I hereby move a motion that the bill be now read the third time. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I support the motion that the bill be read a third time. I say second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this bill be now read a third time. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Okigwe and for related matters 2024, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Ibora, Oyo State and for related matters 2024, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center, Uvian, Delta State, and for related matters 2024, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center, Okiwe, in Imo State, and for related matters, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center, Okiwe, Imo State, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center, Ibora, in Oyo State, and for related matters therewith, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center Ibora in Oyo State and for related matters 2024, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center Owian in Delta State and for related matters 2024, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and to establish the Federal Medical Center in Owian in Delta State and for related matters, third reading taken and passed. Let me thank our colleagues for their contributions and for speedy concurrence of these bills, which clearly show the camaraderie existing between the two chambers, because these bills were for concurrence, and to wish the beneficiaries of the three states well, that now health centers are within the proximity of their various locations. I wish them good health, that they may not even need the Federal Medical Centers, but at the same time, I wish them success in all operations and for all matters referred thereto. Good health, sound mind for all our citizens. Congratulations to the good people of Oyo. Congratulations to the good people of Imo State. And congratulations to the good people of Delta State. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the eighth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Moro Abba Party, and three others on the sham local government election of Saturday, 5th October 2024, abuse of the Constitution, and the need for Senate intervention. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Moro Abba Party to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Abba Moro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I thank you sincerely for granting me the indulgence and others to move this motion. Mr. President, this motion is co-sponsored by my colleagues, Senator Titus Zamtak Tatenge, and Senator Emmanuel Menga Udende, as well as Senator Moye Tony, Anambra North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this motion is on the local government election that took place on the 5th of October in Benue State. Mr. President, the Senate notes that in a federation, elections are the backbone of democracy, allowing citizens to choose their representatives at various levels of government, and the right to franchise of citizens in Nigeria is sacrosanct and constitutionally guaranteed under Section 77 to 91 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, especially focusing on the citizens' right to vote and be voted for in all electoral processes. Also, Senate notes that on the 5th of October 2024, local government council elections were scheduled to hold in Benue State and in other parts of Nigeria. And while the electors excitedly trooped out in their numbers to exercise their franchise to elect leaders who will represent their will at the local councils, they waited for hours in vain, as neither electoral materials nor electoral officers showed up in many parts of the polling stations, and where a semblance of elections took place, winners were denied certificates of return. The Senate further notes that in most places, elections took place in the private homes of the chieftains of the ruling party, making the entire process a mere coronation of candidates of the ruling party, and not a proper election is contemplated under the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. And equally notes that the provisions of Section 197 of the said Constitution, together with the third schedule, Part 2 of the Constitution, have been grossly breached, and the said local government elections of 5th October 2024 in Benue State and in some parts of Nigeria were marred by rampant manipulation, thus thwarting the goal of establishing truly representative local governments in Nigeria. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to condemn the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission's blatant disregard for democratic principles in the sham local government elections of Sunday, 5th October 2024. 2. Urge the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct elections in those places where elections did not hold and allow the people to choose the representatives of their choices. 3. Also urge relevant government institutions to nullify the sham elections and do the right thing in line with laid down principles of law. And finally, further urge the federal government to deny allocations to local government councils where selections were done akin to appointment of caretaker committees. Mr. President, I so submit.
This election happened in Benue State. Am I right? The local government elections.
The local government was supposed to take place in Benue State. Yeah.
Where a man of God, a reverend father, is a governor. Am I right? Because I'm worried about the title. The title says sham. It does a governor, a man of God. Is that how he titled his local government election? Sham local government election.
Matter of fact, is just putting it mildly. When we say sham election, as a matter of fact, it was a charade. It wasn't an election at all.
Is there any seconder to this motion? Is there any who are? No, it's not even the party. I said which governor, and he said that the governor is a reverend father, a reverend father, a reverend father, a reverend father. You are a man of God, and you are describing the election as sham. Well, I don't know. I wasn't there, but we will take the motion. If there's any seconder, we'll take the motion. You want to second the motion? the motion that there was a sham election in Benue State? Are you not too big to second this motion? let me take no, Zab doesn't like controversy. Let me take the civil senator Udende. Udende is a much more calm man.
Thank you, Mr. President, my dear colleagues. My name is Senator Emmanuel Memga Udende. I represent the very good people of Benue Northeast.
Are you seconding the motion from the PDP?
I stand to second the motion.
From the PDP?
Yes.
Okay.
Lord, there was no election.
You said?
No election. There was no election in Benue. Whether APC or what, there was no election. I am. Okay. The fact that I'm in APC, I cannot support what is wrong.
Well, you are not you are a senator of the Federal Republic.
Yes.
You are not a senator for APC once you enter here.
Yes. So I stand to...
And you are not a senator for PDP.
Yes.
So speak in the national interest.
Below that,
so
Mr. President, I stand to...
I've noted your contribution. The three senators have.
The erudite Senate President, my distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Dr. Titus. That exam, I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Distinguished colleagues, I have reason to support, second, associate, approve, recommend, identify with the motion moved by my colleague, distinguished Senator Abba Patrick Muru, and seconded by my dear brother, distinguished Senator Emmanuel Memga Udende. Mr. Senate President, you will see that all of us from Benue State, from across party lines, have co-sponsored this motion. And it speaks to the fact that this is a matter for our concern, not just as senators, but as ambassadors of the good people of Benue State, who have cried to us and have asked us to voice this charity out in these hallowed chambers for the attention of our colleagues, so that collectively we shall find a way towards resolving this heinous political crime that is being committed at the subnational levels of this country. You will agree with me that in a democracy, election is not just a mere political activity. It is supposed to be an avenue where our mandate, our authority to provide leadership is derived from. That is the whole essence of election in a democracy. And this edifice called democracy, which we are all enjoying, didn't just come about, Mr. Senate President. People sacrifice so much to bring about this democracy that is being deliberately deconstructed, destroyed, annihilated, and dismembered by a select few leaders at the subnational level. And it calls for concern. All the investments that were put into the struggle to bring about democracy in this country is being rubbished by our leaders at the subnational level. Therefore,
when you mean subnational level, explain.
I'm talking about states.
By your leaders in
by our state governors, leaders in the state across party lines. Watch what happened in Rivers State. That is not an APC controlled state. it's a PDP controlled state. And elsewhere, I'm not sure Mr. Senate President has kept it completely in his own state of Akwa Ibom. So this is a national malaise that needs our attention, sir. As elucidated in this motion, we all went to Benue thinking there was going to be local government election. I went to my own council ward in my own village, only discovered that elections were conducted in government house and results announced. And to show that they themselves did not believe in what they did, the so-called winners of the election were sworn in at 4 a.m. on Sunday. We woke up on Monday to see pictures that local government councils were inaugurated. That speaks to the fact that even the owners of those stolen drums could not beat the drums in the market square. They had to swear the so-called winners in government house in the night of Sunday.
4 a.m. in
4
the morning.
4 a.m. in the night on Sunday.
By the time you woke up to go to...
We only saw pictures that inauguration had taken place.
But that was the time the father went for mass. So he decided to finish it before doing the 5 a.m. mass.
But that shouldn't be the case, sir. What about an official function?
Well, your pathetic story is appreciated by the Senate, and your contributions are noted. Okay. Let's give other people a chance to comment.
Thank you very much, sir.
The dismissed Deputy Senate President, you may wish to cap it off because I want to go into the prayers. This coming particularly from the minority leader becomes very worrisome. But unfortunately, it is supported by the two senators of the majority party, and there are three of them from that state. So really, very worrisome. This calls for more inquisition. So you may wish to comment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I was not trying to second the motion when I came in. My intention is to make contribution because for some of us, and indeed all lovers of democracy in Nigeria, we need to speak out. It's quite wrong when someone has an opportunity in this manner, like what is happening on the floor of the Senate today, and one does not try to contribute to this debate. One should try to contribute. Well, if you are not given the chance to contribute, you've done your best, but you must contribute. The reason is this: it is really known to everyone that the underpinning, the bedrock of every democracy is the right of the people to elect their leaders in a free and fair election. But the sad commentary is that we all know that we don't have anything like free and fair election in our local governments in the way and manner we elect those that lead our local governments in this country across party lines. Is known to everyone, even the child, even anyone on the street knows that. Because anytime this fact is known to everyone, the so-called elections that are held at local councils, local government areas, nobody even goes out to vote. People don't go out to vote any longer. Elections are announced, and on the day of election, when you go out, you don't see anybody on the street. Nobody goes to the polling areas. Nobody goes out to vote because the results have already been written sometime a week before the election. Before the elections, results were written. They are always written before such elections. So we all know this problem. In fact, Mr. President, it's a national calamity. It's a democratic calamity. I don't know what those people that fought to bring about democracy in this country are feeling the way they are feeling now. I know they are sad.
DSP, please don't make us to cry. Because the the picture you are painting is scary. Are you saying that these local government elections across the entire country, that the elections were all chariots?
Mr. President, everybody is surprised that you are able to win your local government. Your APC was able to win. Everybody, everyone is surprised in the whole nation. In the whole nation. If you don't know, everybody is surprised because it's always 100 over 100. No matter your support in your base, no matter your support in your ward, the result will be written a week before the election. So everybody is surprised, Mr. President. There is nothing like an election at local level. It's now incumbent on us. Well, the likes of Abubakar Rimi, late Bola Ige, the president of Nigeria now, Bola Tinubu, and the rest of them, and Baba Okande, and those who are, a lot of them are no longer alive. And those who are alive now, I'm sure they are speechless. They are speechless. So it's incumbent on us to make sure we correct what is going on in the name of local government election. We need to start that, and we said that yesterday clearly, that we must look at our constitution and make sure we correct those provisions that will allow, if you like, formation of an independent body that will conduct this election, or allow the INEC to control this, because we saw that in 1999 when INEC conducted elections to elect those to be councillors and local government chairmen. It was, that exercise was free and fair. You could find an a PDP chairman in a state like Kebbi, where the governor was an APP governor, an APP councillor and chairman in Kano State when PDP was the governor was a PDP person. So that has to be done. We saw free and fair elections at the local council then. We must change the law. We must change the law. Everybody must come on board. People are no longer, Nigerians are tired of this mess going on. So I don't want to bore you much. I know others want to contribute, but Mr. President, we should change what is going on now. It cannot continue. As long as we want democracy to prevail in our local councils, our local government areas, these anomaly, these attack on democracy must stop henceforth. Mr. President, I just submit.
Let me point out that I would expect us to make contributions that will touch on how do we correct the anomaly. If we want to, we are in charge. We are in charge of the law. And we know what the problem is. It behoves on us, the National Assembly, to give direction and to correct it for the benefit of democracy. But let me hear from the distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawa, although his experience is limited.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I think we have come to where we should be. We have complained for the last maybe 20 years about local government elections not being keeping to the standards and the integrity that we all expect. Mr. President, I will start by adopting something you've said just now, that we are in charge. I want to say we are in charge, but we are partially in charge. Because every time local elections are held in any state, the party, the dominant party, the party in control of that state, hardly misses even a councillorship position. Either opposition parties would decide not to join, not to participate, because they think that they won't make any headway to win anything. Or they will participate, and then the party in power in the state will win almost everything, except perhaps that we have just witnessed. Miraculously, you got one. The truth is, this is going to be a serious and difficult issue to resolve. National Assembly alone, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, cannot resolve this. We can do our part, but we must do beyond our part. We can say, okay, let's try to say INEC should do. But is that the solution? No. Even INEC, in some states, people complain about INEC. But at least the complaints are less. If you want state independent electoral commissions to be removed from the constitution so that only INEC conducts elections for all the local governments and the states and the federation, then you have to have the governors on board. That's reality. Let's not deceive ourselves that we can just pass the law and then it will go to the states and the state house of assembly will comply. They will not. They will listen to their governors. That's the reality. In fact, even if they don't, they will listen to themselves because they think they have power there. So we need to have, Mr. President, our own responsibility, and the governors, the president, and every one of us. This is about the survival of democracy. And politicians, I think, in Nigeria, we think people don't care much. They will laugh it over. We'll regret it if we continue like this. Because people will be tired of us. We are saying no elections were held in Benue. Well, I don't know, because I'm yet to see any report of any investigation. It's an assumption, I'm sure. Mr. President, you should take the gauntlet. You, the Speaker, or probably the body of leadership in the National Assembly, should engage with Mr. President, get the governors, and you sit, all of you, presided over by the President. We have to find a way out. If we amend the state independent electoral commissions not to conduct elections, that will require the support of the state house of assembly, and the governors have a crucial role to play in that. Even if it is going to be incremental amendment to improve local government elections, Mr. President, this 10th National Assembly must initiate that. If we can't get everything out, then we must have some steps that will narrow down the avenues through which the state independent electoral commissions manipulate the system in almost all the states. But I want to tell you, it's not going to be easy. Nobody would like to throw away power, because that is the power the state governments have. If you are in total control of all the local governments, that is your power. And you cannot easily just give it away, especially when it is the opposition that is talking. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Abdullahi, no, Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari, I want to
know what happened in your state, because it looks like in your state the results were announced while people were voting.
Thank you, Mr. President. Buhari Abdul Fattah, Oyo North. Mr. President, shortly before we left for break, this discussion came up. And I remember that day, some of us were saying we should take the election to INEC, and you made a proposal that day that we should have another body entirely that will be in charge of local government. Immediately after that, your suggestion, about 9 days later, Supreme Court ruled that money or the fund of local government should go directly to the local government. Some states accepted, some disagree. That was the time all of them were now rushing to conduct local government election. And before the election or the selection, they will call out the meeting of all the local government chairmen that, look, I'm putting you there. This is what you are going to do. This is what you are going to do. My suggestion, Mr. President, for that law or the judgment of the Supreme Court to work, since we know we needed governors, the best way to do it is that now the money goes directly to them. The anti-graft should monitor that money for the first 3-4 months, pick some of the local government chairmen that divide the money, and then by the time they talk and allow the law to take its course, that what did you use the money for? That alone will scare away some of the governors or some of their principal that, look, I don't want one of the local government. But in as much that there's no punitive measure, they will continue to impose the chairman, and they will still get a way around it to be able to siphon the money. All this thing about local government elections, about local government fund, it's not the election. You are lucky. Out of 31 states, you are given one local government, number 3 citizen. Okay? And then you are representing 13 local government or 12 local government senatorial. So it's very uncommon because nobody will get very uncommon. You will get one single councillor, talk less of getting a local government chairman. So maybe the magnanimity of your governor, that was why I said, let me just pity this man. Unlike Abamoro, that they didn't give him anything. Even in my own state, in front of my house, I lost. In front of my house, 13, I'm representing 13 local government. In front of my local government election, I lost. The same place I won just about a year ago. It's normal. That's what they do. But the moment there's the target on that fund and there's control, they will relax. That is the time, like the former SP said, yourself, the speaker, and the leadership of the National Assembly have to talk to the president. We are talking about the country. We're not talking about any individual. And the moment we continue this way, we'll just become a laughing stock. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, to be honest, I was very interested in what you would say, because one of the allegations we had was that in your state, it was 100%. All councillors, PDP, all chairmen, PDP, the governor, PDP, deputy governor, PDP, and yet you have senators from there who are APC. 3 senators who won elections. They won their elections just a year ago, APC. So all of a sudden, APC vanquished, and everything became PDP, 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 PDP. Even in Rivers State, I understand that the PDP there, due to controversies, withdrew, and then the governor picked another party called, is it APP or so? And then they returned 99% APP. So it means that even if the governor picks OON, the entire the entire state will go OON. So it's as much as it might sound funny, it is a major source of concern to this National Assembly and the future of democracy at that level. When I was a governor, you asked me what happened in my state. I did local government elections twice.
And I remember one of the local governments, even when we did not seem to have opposition then, I think it was either the Kono local government, and ANPP chairman won alongside many councillors. And I was surprised when they called me to ask me, sir, we have a tragedy in 2 local governments out of 31. And I was in Abuja. I said, what is that? They said, these people have won. Oh. So I said, so what do you say? That stakeholders are shouting that it can't happen. Don't announce. I told the chairman, I said, go ahead and announce. Those are the winners. So, of course, I was attacked that I was weak. Why would I announce those things? Well, to be honest with you, it's not everybody that will not know that there is tomorrow. I know that Senator Adams Oshomole is itching to talk because in his state, in Edo State, I think the governor is it PDP? The governor is PDP and may not have much respect for democracy and rule of law. In fact, the governor of Edo State, I think his name is Obaseki, he has run the state with either 1/3 of members of the House of Assembly, to the shame of democracy, for almost 4 years. People that were elected were not sworn into office. Well, and then even in flagrant disregard to court orders. So I don't know what Adam Toshimola will tell us, but I'm already speaking for you that we are in sympathy. Please, when you are speaking, send a warning to them that the governor of today will be an ex-governor tomorrow. And so what they are doing to former governors and to the electorate will also happen to them. But before then, we would have corrected the exercise anyway. You can say something.
Mr. President, I'm very grateful for this privilege. And I think it is fair to just start by congratulating you for being awarded your own local government. I think your governor, I really want to congratulate you. Maybe, as they say, even a madman, when the train is coming, he will regain sanity until the train passes. So I congratulate you for the award. But really, you know...
For winning my local government?
Sir?
For winning my local government?
I said I congratulate you for winning your local government.
Okay, yes, I thought you were congratulating me for the award of GCON.
No, actually, if that had not been done, because I wasn't around yesterday and the day before.
No, you kept using the word
I think you deserve to be congratulated because it was long overdue. Because previous Senate presidents are giving the award the very week they are sworn in. So congratulations, we shall wash it, sir.
Thank you.
In a very uncommon manner.
Thank you.
But sir, the complexities of this issue is a bit such that, you know, we can't even say governors of a political party. The case of Benue is APC versus APC, which explains the unity between PDP and APC senators on this occasion. But with profound respect, I shall say substantially to what the former Senate president said. But I am like, there are more other questions that we ought to ask. Because even those of us who are here, our elections were challenged, conducted by INEC. And many of us are here courtesy of the judiciary. The judiciary found that those who were here before were, you know, were not the winners, and in many cases, I'm not sure of the numbers. Many of us are here courtesy of judicial pronouncement. But me, it's courtesy of my electorate. Now, the issue for me is, why are we helpless? That is what for me leads to a much more complicated question. The purpose of judiciary is to listen exactly the same way as the state and federal high court tribunals and Court of Appeal and Supreme Court listen to those who have reasons to lay election petition before them. Why are the states, those who are victims of this open robbery across the 36 states, there is no exception. They ought to be able to approach the judiciary in their respective state. And I know for a fact that under the law, the state chief judge constitute a tribunal to hear petitions arising from local government election. And then the chief judge also constitute an appeal court, which is drawn from within the state judiciary. If, as it seems to be the case, that the state judiciary are unable to find their governors guilty of conducting an election that have been described in the manner that Benue was described, but that language is applicable to all without exception, so that we are not seen to be picking and choosing what to condemn and what to celebrate. It raises the issue of the independence of the state judiciary. Because if they were alive to their responsibilities and they are able to void an election that, quote, was conducted, the results were out many days before, then there will be no problem. The Constitution envisages that people with power may be tempted to abuse it. That is why the third arm of government, called the judiciary, is established. So I think all of this have to be taken together. Because of the point made by the former SP, this National Assembly, we already have a precedent. You pass a law to grant state assemblies autonomy. That law was passed by the two chambers to amend the constitution, but it required the concurrence of 2/3 of the states. Your Excellency, Mr. President, I'm sure you will remember that many states declined to assent to that amendment, even though these parliaments, state parliaments, were supposed to be the immediate beneficiary. So the National Assembly that was not affected was sympathetic, but the state assemblies were seemingly not sympathetic to their own cause because their governors were not in agreement with that. I think that said, and you have spoken to the sorry state of affairs in Edo State, but even that one, sir, I hope it doesn't happen under your leadership, because the National Assembly also failed us in Edo State.
But
because the power of the National Assembly...
It wasn't under my tenure.
Sir?
It wasn't under this 10th Assembly.
That's why I say, may it not happen under your tenure.
It won't, because we have provisions in the Constitution that we can use to correct the situation.
With respect, Mr. President, that is the point I'm making. When I said that we were also disappointed by the National Assembly of that time, the 9th Senate. I'm very sorry I have to say this, but the truth has no color. The National Assembly invoked their powers and sent a delegation to Edo, a panel to Edo, both the Senate and the House. And they reported that the governor did not properly inaugurate the House. And that was it. Not years followed. So for 4 years, Edo was under sole administrator. But even more painful is that whereas the Constitution says you can't have a parliament less than 24, Edo was run with 10 people. But I didn't come to Abuja to lament the imperfections in Nigeria. Like you, I think we are here to fix what is broken. Obviously, elections at the local government level is broken, and it has to be fixed. But to fix it, we will need to have in-house conversation, not within the Senate, the National Assembly, as you rightly said, the governors and Mr. President, to understand that it is in our enlightened self-interest, not a favor to Nigerians or to the local government. It is in the matter of enlightened self-interest of we, the political class. I now can't excuse myself because I used to fight the class, but as you can see, I'm here. To understand that the grave that we are digging, or we are watching some people dig, even though they say we soon become a victim, because like you said, sir, now in the case of Edo, in the next 26 days, we'll have a new governor, and Obaseki will belong to the past. He's already actually gone. He's gone on terminal leave. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but I would suggest that we have a convention under your leadership, invite scholars, invite other political players, statesmen, so that together we can look at this. Because even if you create another INEC and the character issue remains the same, the idea that I must have everything, I must take all, whether by hook or by crook, nothing is going to change. But I believe that you have shown leadership in many other ways, and this will just be another uncommon situation that God will use your leadership to bring about in our country. Otherwise, we may do the way the president appoints the minister of FCT. The governor can as well go and say he's appointing who he wants as chairman, so that public fund is not even wasted in the name of, quote, election that we know are never on. It is a shame across the 36 states of the federation. And but again, now we must make exception to Mr. President of the Senate. So at least you won one. That must be a tough fight. But the rebellion was crushed in your local government. Thank you very much, Mr. President, sir.
Well, distinguished Senator Adam Loshimode, just to ask, how many members do you have in Edo State House of Assembly?
Actually, we have 24, and only 10 were sworn in at about 9:30, about 10 p.m. at night.
Only 10 of them?
10.
So what happened to the other 14?
They were out for all of 4 years. All of 4 years. They were not sworn in one day. The Attorney General, the former Attorney General Malami, wrote to the IG to provide security for the members to be sworn in, but the state government and the police in quote tried to enforce it. They put granite and anyway, for 4 years they were out. They never sat one day. They never earned anything, and whatever they spend in electioneering, they are just like I don't know how to put it. It's not nice to talk to describe people in some way, but obviously, just imagine what you go through, the stress of electioneering, the cost of electioneering, and you are declared the winner. There are no issues of whether you were properly elected or not. The court satisfied that you were properly elected, and the governor just declined to inaugurate. I remember the former Senate president, for you to see the complexity, sir. Some APC governors were involved in this conspiracy. Now, the Senate president called a meeting to settle this issue. And he asked a former chairman of Governors Forum, someone, I don't want to mention name, but someone from the Southwest, and 2 other governors, and so on. And he was to have a meeting with them, and they told the Senate president, the APC in the state told the Senate president that truly they were not able to inform the members for proper inauguration. He considered that. And the Senate president, to his credit, and may God bless you for that, told the governors, one of who was a former senator, and said, you know that this is the only procedure to inaugurate a house. And that procedure was not followed. And the only remedy is that proper inauguration be done. He told that former Senate governor who was chairman of Governors Forum, APC Governors Forum. And in the presence of another governor who was the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum. And the governor of Edo then said he wasn't ready to repeat the process.
Would it be out of place for us to revisit the issue and insist that at least the remunerations of those 14 members who were sidelined for 4 years should be paid by the incoming administration of distinguished Senator Okowolo? No, but I think the court had ruled on the matter. Is the matter still in court?
No, sir. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not sure of the state of the matter in court.
So,
But we have discussed this with Mr. President, and I think he's doing something. I think the next governor coming in, we have a lot in his hand, and naturally he will look at this. But if the Senate was to pass a resolution, we discuss this issue with the president, and he's very, very sympathetic, and he promised to do something about it. However, wherever
but
the
we
Senate
just
can
mentioned that it's a subnational issue. It is not a federal issue. This was an isolated case where the man you brought as governor turned against you and turned against democracy. That is. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that the people of Edo voted him out. So the question I'm saying now is that, in due course, please consider bringing a motion for us to reconsider the plight of those 14 legislators in Edo State, since it is not there is no legal encumbrance. Distinguished Senator Ekong Samson, you may wish to answer them on how I was awarded one local government.
But I thought you allowed me to just take you and round up. But just for the records, I didn't bring him. He was elected, but I supported him. Just the way you supported Governor Udom. So we supported. I didn't have power to appoint a governor, but I supported the way you supported Udom. And I think there are many governors who have supported, even the Benue who are complaining, they supported the Reverend Father. And from Father, now Abba Father.
Okay, it's not a discussion for today. Yes, Senator Ekong Samson. They just said that you and your party awarded me one local government. So I just wanted to correct that impression.
Well, I am Ekong Samson. I speak for Akwa Ibom South. I'm not too sure of the premises that my colleagues pinned their opinion. In Akwa Ibom State, we do our handshake across borders. We extend our handshake across borders, and it was very, very commendable when the chairman who represents the LJ of the SP was sworn in on Monday. I went, took pictures with him. I'm of the PDP stock, he of the APC stock. At the end of his swearing in, we went to your place and we shared some bottles of understanding with your chairman of council. And we also had councillors from the APC stock in Akwa Ibom State. We are councillors. I mean, some mention has been given of the chairman of council. Not a word has been said that in my state there are some councillors from the APC stock. Clearly, you find that in Akwa Ibom State there is democracy at work. So Benue may have become a metaphor of sorts, but in Akwa Ibom State there's a lot there's a commitment to core values, and there's respect for the Senate President, especially if across party lines. And so nobody should be surprised. In Akwa Ibom State, we are brothers and sisters. There's a lot of maturity, and there's clearly a handshake across borders. But Mr. President, the Benue case presents, as I said earlier, a metaphor. But there are also some principles. There are some broader principles that are at play. Principles about our jurisprudence, principles about law, principles about our pragmatic approach, and of course, very respectfully, our commitment to our value system. Ghosts don't rig elections. I never seen before where ghosts are exhumed to intrude in the processes. It is the political class, it is the players that orchestrate some abuses, some which are quite monumental. So I think the issue goes beyond Benue. The issue goes beyond what we want as a country, as a democracy, sir. In Nigeria, one gets worried when we celebrate victories over battles, we pay little attention to victories over wars. When, even if a process favors us, even if it is flawed, we celebrate it. But when a process turns against us, then there are concerns that are raised. So I think the time has come for us to really look at our value system, because a free and fair election is at the cornerstone of a democracy. And that's one way that we can win the respect of the international community. So we have to really look at attitudes, and the electoral laws and jurisprudence is very, very key. When one sees what happens in a country, one recollects the dark past, the days of the ABN, Association for Better Nigeria, characters that emerged, and the role of the judiciary, which puts us in a tailspin. We must come face to face with the challenges of our history and see how we can make amends for the sake of this country. Let us inculcate, let us encourage a value system that will give Philip, that must give Philip to free and fair election across party lines. Because abuses in democracy doesn't pay anyone. If it favors you today, it will be held hostage tomorrow. So my contribution, sir.
Let me thank you for your contributions. But let me point out that in Akwa Ibom said the elections were not perfect. The local government elections were not perfect. My colleagues are even appreciating the state governor for remaining steadfast, realizing that it would be impossible for the Senate president to lose even his own local government. And that for him, some governors would have gone ahead to even announce what they like, saying that it belongs to the federal. He can go and do what he wants there. But that he announced the APC chairman of my local government who duly won the elections, and the state is PDP. That is where the commendation comes in. That with people like Governor Moeno, that there is hope. Not that the elections were perfect. I hope you understand that there is hope for us to have a national dialogue with a view to changing the situation. And so I actually do commend Governor Moeno for that. Like my colleagues have said, it was a very uncommon gesture on his part. But then, please, you can sit down. And then Senator Abamoro, you started this. You brought this up. And then you had support across party lines. Now, the world needs to know that it is not limited to only the PDP states. That the sham of local government election goes beyond party lines. I think that's the conclusion of the Senate. And that there is need for us to do something to reposition the local government as a third tier of government. And what you are seeing here is that it has never really been a third tier of government. So we commend the Supreme Court of Nigeria for the ruling that the funds of local government should go direct to the local government. But then we, on our part, in the National Assembly, must give Philip. We must take the next step to ensure that the decision that has been so far given by the Supreme Court becomes alive. Even all these things about elections or selection or coronation of local government chairmen and councillors, we are the ones to do something about. If the public sees us crying, then they will lose hope in democracy. So we are giving notice to the public that we are poised to change the situation for the better. I think that's the essence of this dialogue. That is why I allowed people to speak across party lines. But this Senator Olamilegon, if it's for any specific thing, we are passive. We are just saying that the next thing now is for us to discuss the way forward. And it's not going to be here. Like the SP Emeritus pointed out, all hands must be on deck. We must have a meeting, must have a national dialogue. The president must be there. The governors must be there. Even the past governors must be there. And those who are doing second term, who will soon become past governors, should also realize that what they are doing to past governors and political office holders will also happen to them if the situation is not corrected. And then the public is waiting to see what the National Assembly will do to ensure that elections in the local governments are free and fair. For now, I always believe that we have only two tiers of government, the federal and the state. If we correct the election situation in local governments across the country, that's the only time we can have a three-tier system of government. So that we don't overflow the issue. Olamide, you just ran off.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague Adeola Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District. Mr. President, let me start also by thanking the mover of this motion because he has done a very, very human job and taken the bull by the horn. And also to commend my colleague who have said one or two things about this motion. Mr. President, in your earlier submission, you said, what are the solutions? And I agree with you because for my state, we are yet to conduct the local government election. And so far, so good. We are watching and looking at the process. And there are some school of thought in the past who have suggested that we should expunge local government from the constitution. There are some school of thought that believe that local government should not be part of constitution as a result of what is currently happening. Mr. President, let me say this. Every 4 years, we in these chambers and all other elected officials for election conducted by INEC, you see everybody is running helter-skelter to have one legacy or one thing to show for in of his representation of anything that he's doing. Because he knows that in the next 4 years he's going back. And if he has not convinced those who voted for him, you voted out. So there is expectation. But at the local government, it's not the same. It's not the same. So for the school of thought that believe that INEC be empowered to conduct this election is because there should be expectation. It will be far, far better off than what we are witnessing. It will be far better off. Sir, again, you mentioned about Edo State House of Assembly. Yes, they have 10 honorable members out of 24. It is our duty, Mr. President, to ensure financial autonomy for all the state assembly. Let them be financially autonomous. If we really want solution, because they are talking if we don't keep bringing the governors, there will be we cannot succeed. And what is the instrument of that they will use? It's because they are not financially autonomous. We can do it here. We are financially autonomous. That is why we can do what we do. So we need to work in that particular area. Mr. President, also, we mentioned about the local government. Yesterday we were here. It started by the Supreme Court pronouncement. Today we are here talking about election. Sir, it must be holistic. If we have started with one, we must do the second leg. We can't do one and leave one. If we have succeeded in having financial autonomy for this local government, we must also have election autonomy for this local government. If we must balance everything. Or else, 4 years, year in, year out, we will continue to come and discuss the same thing. And this 10th assembly is the opportunity because it started with us. If financial autonomy has started with us, we must complete the transaction. I'm telling you, I agree with the school of thought that we should bring people to the table and agree and let's discuss. But at least for once, we must, if truly we want the grassroots to be functional. The federal government is settled at the federal level, the state is okay, but at the local level, there is nothing. So please, Mr. President, I join my other colleagues who have made various suggestions to say that there is urgent need for us to address this deplorable situation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you. I think we just go into the prayers for the purpose of closing, but there are a lot of questions begging for answers. Prayer 1, condemn the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission's blatant disregard for democratic principles in the sham local government elections of Saturday, 5th October 2024. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct elections in those places where elections did not hold and allow the people to choose their representatives. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge relevant government institutions to notify the elections and do the right thing in line with laid down principles of law. Who wants to amend that? Let me put the question. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. You are the only place, the only place that can annul the election remain the courts. So not relevant agencies of government. So the nays have it. Prayer 4, further urge the federal government to deny allocations to local government councils when selections are done akin to appointment of caretaker committees. Yes. Those in support of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the civil senator Abamoro, look at what you have done to us. You brought a very controversial issue, and it has taken us the past 2 hours to deliberate on it. I thank you for recognizing my state as a state that at least gave semblance of elections to local government. I did not go to take part to win. I went to take part to observe. And so, Olamileko, I said I didn't go to take part in the local government elections to win. I went to observe. So that when it is time to take relevant decisions to correct the system, I will do so from a position of knowledge. So please, whenever your state is about to do it, so go there and check. If you notice what is happening in Benue, Benue is APC versus APC. The Apamoro is just suffering from collateral damage. That's the truth. Because I understand he was not even allowed to enter the state. So Apamoro is suffering from collateral damage as a result of APC fighting APC. And that is why they did not want any court injunction. So they had to swear the local government chairman in by 4 a.m. because no court will sit by that time. Otherwise, they would have received a court injunction restraining them. So we will do something about it. Deputy Senate President, the DSP, is part of what your committee must also take seriously. But the faster, the better. I want us to conclude on all these constitutional amendments, electoral amendments, and then look at ensuring full autonomy for state assemblies, ensuring financial autonomy for local governments. If we can achieve those things under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then we would have been able to set the democratic process on the right track. And I think that should be our commitment. So observe what they are doing, because this one is akin to somebody sitting down to do caretaker committee and then using the name of election to cover it. So I thank you, Senator Bamoro. We are in sympathy with you, but you know you have a right to go to court. Okay, there were all parts of the country where the sham elections. I thank you for your observation, but be rest assured that the 10th Senate and the 10th National Assembly, being a corrective one, will do something about the situation. This The Egyptians you see today, you shall see them soon no more. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, in view of the fact that the time is well spent and we have other committee commitments outside the plenary, I wish to move that we stand down the only last order of the day that has not been attended to today for the next legislative session.
Distinguished Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that we stand down the only item on the order paper today for the next legislative day and appropriately adjourn. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, having stood down the only last order of the day, I move that the House do adjourn to next week, Tuesday, the 15th of October 2024 by 11 a.m. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate do adjourn to the next legislative day at 11 a.m. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, the 15th day of October 2024 at 11 a.m. prompt.